to order and start the streaming. Here we go. All right, thank you, Jess. All right, meeting's called to order. We will start with roll and Ginny.
Everybody's here.
Oh, 1 minute. Okay.
Okay. Bush,
Here.
Greenlee,
Here.
Harris,
Here.
Hill is absent today. Kyers,
Here.
Longstreet,
Here.
McCaffrey,
Here.
Reichart,
Yep.
Rice,
Here.
and Sachs.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent, thanks, Ginny. And then down to additions and deletions to the agenda. We have a couple here to add. We are going to have an item 11F, that is the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund agreement for the Eastmanville Connector Project. Since the trust fund grants got approved, we are going to put that in here and yeah, yay, right? We should have hard copies for everyone momentarily. I think Erin is working on getting those printed since this was a last minute addition. But the project we've already been through, so it's just a formality to approve the agreement. And then item 15, we will have a brief closed session today, and that was not on
Oh, sure.
our agenda. So we'll have number 14 will be upcoming meeting date, 15 closed session, and 16 adjournment for the agenda today. Does that make sense, everybody? All right, super. I think that's it. I got everything.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any other.
Yes, that was it. And we had
Okay.
talked about, depending on how the timeline goes, if we could do closed session earlier,
Right, right. Oh, that is something good
depending
to
on our public
note.
hearing.
Yeah, so everybody probably knows. Hello? We have a public hearing at 5:30 today. So we're going to keep rolling through the agenda and get through everything. But when 5:30 comes, we'll have a hard stop and go to the public hearing and the information session on the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan. So, all right. So moving right along, number 5 is approval of the minutes for the September 17th meeting. And if anyone would like to make a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Thanks, Phil. Thank you, Martin. And any questions, edits? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, minutes are approved. And keep going with communications. We have a couple of these on here today. We have a park comment email that I'm assuming someone submitted for us as part of a written public comment. I guess, is this an anonymous email? for
yep.
some reason?
Well, we just didn't publish the sender's name, but I wanted to include it in there. So it just was a nice unsolicited compliment to our parks and how they support that family. So
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have another one on the Upper Mac Mountain Bike Trail, a series of emails that have been included for folks. And I think we have a couple or Martin, is there something you would like to add to this section?
I mean, I can
At this
provide some background as necessary, but I mean, maybe first we can just look at.
Well,
Sure.
and-
Yeah, is there anything to highlight?
Well, no, and so we did talk about it somewhat at the planning committee, and staff have been out there recently, and I think we'll work on, if there are any revisions or changes, we would work that through with the planning committee next month. So, yeah.
Great.
I think that clarifications to guidelines are always, welcome and warranted when there's confusion. But I think background on like what the guidelines are themselves, I mean, we have a pretty clear idea, obviously, of what they are, but
Yep.
I think also there's plenty of evidence of other area trails to kind of show a clear and more importantly, consistent approach that's taken, I mean, virtually everywhere in the state, except perhaps a few trails in Copper Harbor.
Yeah.
That are a little different in nature.
Right.
To trails anywhere else in
Yeah.
the state.
Yeah, so I think when we walked out there, and I know Jason and Kurt and Eric spent some more time out there, looking at the history and the original signage and identifying, making sure that the signage is clear on the expectations, and then maybe coming up with some ways to proactively educate users on good trail etiquette and, even suggest, if people are, we have mountain biking there, it rotates each day, the directions, and then maybe walkers. I don't know if we have a final, we thought maybe encouraging walkers to walk into traffic. So, versus, so, yeah.
Mhm.
And then clarifying that the trails are, appropriate for hiking. So,
Yeah, that was the main thing that I did because I had my own preformed like understandings of
Yes.
things just as a
As a
trail
user,
user
yep.
and a member. But I did some homework just to make sure that I wasn't missing a bunch of things in other trails. I think one of the best points of comparison is Merrill Trail in Rockford, since it's pretty similar to the Upper Mac Trail in terms of like the technicality and the nature of the trail. And also, in addition, it's higher traffic, and it also is a less highly used but still substantially used trail running destination
Mhm.
for area users, to make sure that it is indeed, and it's open to trail running and hiking use. But I checked in with the WMBA
Yep.
to make sure, because I wasn't sure if they had any trails that recommended a directionality for runners, and they do not, because it's a highly polarizing topic among both mountain bikers and trail runners.
Yeah.
I mean, the primary points on the two sides are a lot of experienced trail runners prefer to run in the same direction as mountain bike traffic, because while you're moving slower, you're still moving in the same direction. And so if you leave the trailhead and go the same direction as bike traffic, you're only passed by people who are moving enough faster than you to catch you and keep going, which might be about half the people that start the trail during the time you're on it. Whereas if you run backwards, you're going to pass everyone who's on the trail, plus virtually everybody who starts it by the time you exit.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, when you're running into traffic, the visual visibility is typically better for both the runner and the cyclist.
Right.
And I think really the important thing is making sure that, the user, regardless of, is aware that there are going to be multiple uses, right? And
Right,
making sure that our signage, and there are multiple entry points, and it's not always clear at each entry point. And
Yeah. So I think that's certainly by far the most important thing, is just making sure that the guidelines and expectations are clear. And that's like I said, I checked with WMBA, and they don't have any trails where there's a recommended, running direction to go with or against traffic. It's more, you can look on like the website, it says stuff about, here's this recommended etiquette of basically just be aware, don't run or ride with headphones in on trails because it's dangerous. The only trail that I'm aware of that does that is DTE. Energy Foundation Trail over on the east side of the state has a recommended run against bike traffic in place. And I think other than that, everywhere else just says do what you're comfortable with and be aware of the other users on the trail.
Yeah.
So just, as that background, I went ahead and
that's
figured
great. And
do the
Kurt and
legwork.
Jason, don't let me you guys spent more time out there yesterday than.
No, that's helpful. I mean, maybe there is a difference between trail runners and just walkers, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's something to consider for sure.
Yeah, we talked about that, and we talked about dog walkers as well,
Mhm.
and where the trail intersects, where the walking trail intersects the biking trail, and the need for additional signage there, so that people again know what to expect. So
Mhm.
And that is something that we think is lacking because yeah, I mean, we never quite coordinated fully the hiking trails or the mountain biking trails. I mean, mountain biking group put in lots of signs for themselves, but they didn't necessarily do something where it crossed one of our regular park trails. So those particular spots, and there's only like 3 of them, but that's where potential conflicts could arise.
We allow dog dog walkers on the trail in Macatola now.
Mhm.
Currently, there's no restriction for dog walking on the mountain
On
biking
leash,
trails.
but-
A
yeah,
leash.
Right,
Yeah.
'cause- right, yeah, because
Correct. It's on leash, yeah. And I've heard, again, different people tell you different things. I've heard conflicting recommendations on that as well. Like at Riley Trails, we have a lot of people who walk dogs there, and a lot of mountain bikers have told me they wish the dogs weren't on a leash there because the people walk on one side of the trail and the dog on the other, and it
Yeah.
creates a rope going across the trail. So it could go either way. I think that at this point we're not looking to. We did discuss a recommendation of no bike or no dogs on those trails, but the thought of how we would enforce it and the fact that if we made that rule, there would be an expectation of enforcement. And I just don't think that would be practical. And that's not been a big complaint we've had. We've not got a lot of people saying, hey, the dogs are causing problems. So don't want to solve a problem that hasn't existed yet.
Yeah, I think on leash versus off leash is actually a far bigger difference than on leash versus no dogs allowed.
Mhm. Yeah. Thanks, Martin. That's really helpful background information. Thanks for digging
I
into that.
appreciate it,
And
for
then
sure.
planning will be talking about this and coming up. Great. Super. Thanks, everybody. That was good. And that brings us to our first opportunity for public comment. I see we have some gentlemen in the audience today. If any of you would like to make public comment today, we have some cards you can fill out, and everyone's allotted 3 minutes to speak. If anyone is online, please feel free to submit any public comments in writing at any time during the month. You will see the email address in the description of the YouTube video. So anyone online, feel free to do that, and we will take a look at your comments at the next full commission meeting in November. So looks like we're all set. Nobody, okay. And we'll just keep rolling then. There will be another opportunity for public comment at the end of the meeting if you care to do so. And we'll start with the staff reports, and the first one's the director's report, and that is Jason.
So just a handful of updates from this past month. So it's been a busy month, actually. So kudos to, we've had a number of dedications and events and our volunteer recognition. And so kudos to all the staff who and our volunteers who did amazing jobs in coordinating all those. I think everything went without a hitch. So, and we got, whoever's in charge of the weather for the Rosie Mountain dedication, kudos to them. So, yeah, we had a beautiful, almost summer day. So it's gone now. I did include I tried to give a summary of the North Ottawa Dunes settlement and where we are to date, and tried to just give as much background for any commissioners who aren't familiar with that claim. So I was able to connect with Corporation Counsel. So we should be able to close that claim and get approval to start that project by the end of the year. So it might take a month or two to get the final clearance to do that, but I feel really good about that at this point. So moving forward.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Are we still waiting on the subdivision?
So yes, they had
How long
not.
do they get?
Well, that's what the conversation I had today was that all of the interested parties that have a real financial interest in it have already signed off on it. So, or will be. So they really were a beneficiary out of that settlement. So, it shouldn't hold up us starting our project, but fiscal services needs to get that clearance, and so I think we'll get that. in the
Is
next
somebody
month or
going to
so.
walk up to the door of the homeowners association president and say, sign that darn thing?
Well, I'll let, yeah, but I think the, Corporation Council agreed that that shouldn't hold up us being able to start our project. And so that's what we were going to,
Before they sign?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, cool. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about it, planning if anything develops in the next couple of weeks or something
Mhm.
too, if there's any new
and
development.
I'll just leave it on as an agenda item until we get that.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Anything else you wanted to highlight, Jason?
Nope.
Okay,
I'm happy to answer any questions.
anybody? All right, we'll keep rolling with the park operations report, and that's Jason next door.
All right, Will. For the most part, I'll just leave it as written, but I did want to highlight one thing. As you all know, we had lots of high water over, years ago, and Riverside Park, along with a lot of our other parks, had some significant flooding in it. And with Kirby Bayou there at Riverside was up so high that our fishing dock that we had there had been underwater for several years. And then when the water finally came down, obviously it was all overgrown and kind of looking in disrepair. Well, this year we had a fairly dry summer and we got in there and we cleared everything out. We found that fishing pier again. And amazingly enough, it's in really good shape. Enough so that like just a couple boards need to be replaced. And so for the first time in several years, that fishing pier on Kirby Bayou is open and easily accessible and easily usable. Now the accessible path, I shouldn't say accessible because the accessible path is all covered with dirt and everything. So when we redo the pavement at Riverside, was that next year? We'll probably reconnect that. But that's a really cool improvement to bring that back, something that we lost to the flooding that we've now been able to bring back. But other than that, if you have any questions about anything else in there, I'd be happy to answer them, or anything not in there.
Any questions for Jason?
No, thanks for the solar crosswalk.
Yeah, that one's fun because it's similar to the one at Ottawa Sands, but that one has the button, so it doesn't blink all the time. But it's when we first put it in and I hit the button and looked at it from 2 feet away, I'm like, well, this thing isn't very bright. But when you're actually at a regular car's distance away, it's super bright.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you
so-
just have to get used to it, but thanks
Yeah.
for doing that. Thank you, Kurt.
No, you don't want to get used to it. You want to know.
Yeah.
No, well, they need to get used to looking.
And in the
for it.
times I've been out there playing with it, cars have actually stopped when I hit the button. So
Nice.
I have a question along that line. Is that similar to what we had talked about in months past about at Tunnel Park across?
yeah,
in there?
exactly the same.
So that is budgeted, so that's on my list to get ordered and figured out how to get those installed, certainly by next, the busy season next year.
Thanks.
Super. Anybody else? All right, we will keep going with the planning and development report, and that is Kurt.
All right, I would just summarize it by saying we're wrapping up our major construction projects for the year. There's still stuff going on as long as the weather is decent, but that's where we're going. And you've probably noticed in the last couple months with the grants finally coming through, we are working hard to get those projects ready. So that's segment of trail at Bass River, segment of trail at Eastonville Bayou, and the modern restroom at Upper Macatawa. So those are all scheduled for next year. And then one little coordination thing, I noticed Jason in his report showed that we're demolishing the stairs at Tunnel Park, which is true. We have been delayed on getting our building permit. I thought it would be so easy. We're just rebuilding them right where they are under the same specifications, but it's not so easy. So anyway, they're getting demolished and we will be hopefully building them very soon. And that will keep going as long as the weather is decent. The contractor will work right through if he can. So anyway, other than that, happy to answer any questions.
How'd the meeting on the barn, about the barn go?
Okay, so that was yesterday. So we should have the final report. It's supposed to come today. Maybe it's coming while we're sitting in here.
Final draft.
Sorry,
The final
Draft.
the
can you
final
repeat
draft.
that?
Eastmanville?
Eastmanville Board,
All
they
right,
had a meeting
so
yesterday.
I
The
have it on the
feasibility study.
agenda for the planning committee to review it. We basically, they kind of had the report set up for the full-blown project. We asked them to see if they could come up with a cost estimate for like a minimal project. What do we really need to make it? So we feel good about inviting the public in there on a regular basis if we want to. So,
So it was a good meeting.
it was good. Yeah, I mean, it's proceeding.
Any other questions for Kurt? Kurt, I was looking, and maybe I just have not noticed, but do we have kind of a new sign template? Like I saw the Hawthorne Pond, or Hawthorne
No.
Park. So is that,
Hawthorne Park, that's this big collaboration
Right,
with Park.
right.
No, Holland Charter
Mhm.
Township. That is their standard sign.
okay, okay.
And so
Gotcha.
they had a sign at the original Hawthorne Pond, which wasn't real great. So they wanted to do one that is their standard. Now we are going to have a kiosk there, and that will talk about the collaboration
Okay.
among all of us. But they, our agreement is that they are totally responsible for that area. It's our property, but all of the facilities there, the restroom, the signs, the parking lot, the trails, the mowing, all of that stuff, they are going to take care of. So no new
Yeah,
standard.
go ahead, Phil.
Just some people may be interested in this. The city of Grand Haven is hosting a Harbor Island update on the 6th of November at 6:30 in the evening at the city hall. That is a real problem / opportunity for the city. And if people are interested, I assume that someone from the parks is going to be there. It's a important meeting.
Great, thanks. Anybody else?
We're gonna
Okay.
build a tunnel from from Ottawa Sands across to,
Under the river?
yeah, under the river. It's only gonna be $2 billion.
Is the road commission doing that?
No, it's the federal government is allocating those funds. It's out of the Argentine money.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. We'll keep rolling with the community engagement report. Jess?
All right, just keeping busy again. So spring and fall are kind of our seasonal busy times. I was just looking through the calendar, and I think once school got back into session, I think we had a program just about every day, weekends and weekdays. What you'll see, hopefully, a really chunky part of my report will continue to be partnerships. That's a very big area of focus for the community engagement strategic plan, is making sure that we are trying to work with as many organizations in our community to help get people outside. So I'll continue to keep you updated on those as they come and go. I'm really excited. This Saturday, we will be hosting the Community Action Agency, which is a county department, out at Pigeon Creek Park for one of their fundraisers, Game Day for Good. You'll see some notes in there. We met with Gillette Visitor Center, has a new director. So we met with some of their staff. We've been collaborating with ODC Network and are working on developing a partnership agreement. We were recently approached by Bethany Christian Services. They have kind of a niche counseling program that they do some private fundraising for, that we'll partner with them on in spring through kind of early summer. Just again, being a host to try to get more people outside, doing more fun things, and loving our parks. So happy to answer any additional questions that you might have, and yeah, share more.
Good. Anything for Jess? All right. And I hear if you feel like volunteering for HWA treatments with Neely's crew, that Jess can give you a firsthand experience of how invigorating it is.
It's a workout, y'all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. Good job. Okay, and with that, we'll move to Neely with the Natural Resource Management report.
There was something that I wanted to highlight in particular. I just have to find it now. Looking out of order. So nothing huge to add, except for obviously the HWA opportunities. We've also been doing a bunch of oak wilt work, which I feel like will probably be of interest to a lot of people, which is why I wanted to find this great update that one of my technicians put together. Where did I put it? Sorry, bear with me here. So for anyone that doesn't know, I think we have detected oak wilt in I think 6 of our parks now, which is a pretty big deal. So it is it's a non-native fungus that basically kills oak trees. So if you, especially red oaks, if you have a red oak that is infected with oak wilt, then the likelihood that it will die is very high. White oaks are also affected by oak wilt, but they're more likely to be able to make it through that alive. But it's sort of a death sentence for oaks, and we've been hit with it particularly hard in Ottawa County. So it's something that we talk about a lot just to try to get the awareness out there, because it is possible, I think, to stop this disease. And especially in our parks, like Rosie Mound is one of the parks that's most affected, North Ottawa Dunes. So some of these really like flagship properties. So what we're trying to do right now is trying to kind of get a handle on the infestations that we do have, so that moving forward, it'll be more like just putting out tiny fires instead of these huge undertakings that we have right now. So anyway, Bree, who I think most of you have met, she did come to a meeting a few months ago now when she first started, but she's our natural resources management supervisor. She has a lot of experience in forest health, having worked with HWA up in Mason and Lake counties. But so this is her kind of brief summary of our oak wilt work right now. So Rosie Mound, there's 3 known epicenters and all of them have been tagged. So we're working on an oak wilt mitigation plan for that. So it will be a combination, hopefully, of some trenching or vibratory plowing around those epicenters, and then a ring of fungicide injections around that to hopefully stop it from spreading. And I'll share the summary with the group. It is a little bit longer and I don't want to read the whole thing, I guess. But basically what they're doing is they're tagging all of the trees and doing kind of a similar protocol that we do for hemlock woolly adelgid. But just to kind of get an idea of the magnitude of the issue. And then, so we're trying to put together plans to hopefully mitigate the issue in all of those properties. So, yeah.
Neely, is it near residential areas that so are we
Residential areas and then some power line right of ways as well. So that's a common vector.
along the residential area, any chance we might like knock on their doors and say, we can help you with this, or don't do this, or?
I mean, we have talked about some outreach, like either, sending postcards or door hangers, or I think that one of the stewardship team's ideas was to do a neighborhood walk, like a workshop, with some of these neighbors, just with the idea that they probably don't know exactly what is going on. Yeah.
So, do you mind?
No, not at all.
So we had talked about some specific treatment at a couple of the sites, but then also looking at, I'd asked to look at thinking about more of a comprehensive approach that would try to address some of the concerns in our parks, but then also put us in a position that we could do that and then maybe help in the future. But then thinking about, right, really a communications plan in conjunction with that would be both in conjunction with neighbors, but then also maybe, local jurisdictions and helping, trying to be proactive to help spread that word. So yes, definitely. We might, depending on where we go, we still have a little bit of work to do on on how we want to do that, but
So, and if anyone didn't know, we did have an oak wilt presentation at the Nature Center pretty recently. There will be a forest health update at the next Naturally Speaking. And moving forward, we do continue, or we want to continue to do presentations about oak wilt and maybe some workshops too. So if anyone has questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Anything for Neely? Yeah, kudos to you guys for tackling. That's a tough issue. I know my dad has 200 acres and most of it's in Oak Savannah in Wisconsin. And oak wilt ran through there like 20 years ago and he lost a lot.
Wow.
I mean, he's out in the middle of nowhere, so
Yeah.
it's not, it helps to bring the landowners together for sure, but
Yeah, I mean, if you think
tough.
about just Rosie,
yeah.
the red oak component is pretty significant.
Yeah.
and then when you compound it with the pressure we have from the deer
Mhm.
browse, that then, if you lose a pretty major species like that, then trying to reforest, especially when you're talking about the Lake Michigan dunes, the long-term impact of that. So,
Along with the hemlocks that we'll be losing.
right,
Yeah.
right. So it really, and that's why, we need to see if we can do more than, we need to take care of our parks too, but yeah.
Super. Anything else to highlight, Neely, or are we good with everything else?
The last thing that I would like to say, other than definitely keep an eye out for work days coming up. Community engagement volunteer events. I'm still working on switching my language. So there's a lot of service opportunities. There's that Carly is doing, but additionally, not this Friday, but next Friday during our regularly scheduled Park Stewards event, we will be doing the planting for the Shamblin Memorial Pollinator Garden at Ottawa Sands that some foundation members generously contributed to help memorialize Jason's dad.
And some parks commissioners. So,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's good. All right, thanks. Final questions, comments for Neely? All right, we'll just keep rolling with the development report.
Great. Hi, everybody. I'm
Katie.
Katie, right? Yes. So still new. I'm still wearing the new hat. I've been in the role for about 2 months. So over the next few months, we'll be working on some new reporting metrics. So you've got just a little bit of information in here in the report, but we'll be coming up with a new reporting system for you. And other than that, the only other piece in my report that I wanted to highlight is that as I get to know a bit more about parks and the Parks Foundation and the partnership between the two, I may be reaching out to some of you to have some kind of one-on-one meetings to learn a little bit more about the directions you'd like to see the parks going in and what you're hearing from the community. So, any questions?
No? All right, thanks, Katie. Appreciate that. Then we have the strategic plan progress report. There's kind of a placeholder in our packet, but not really any updates there for this month because we are focusing on the parks plan. So I think we'll just go right ahead and go to Nick with the visitor and business services report.
Thank you. So the first summer season has completed for the new visitor and business services division. I've been doing a lot of learning. And I want to thank all the park supervisors that have helped me kind of learn the parks and how they operate. So with that, we're wrapping up the first year. Another really cool thing, this is the first fiscal year with cost centers broken out by area. So great job to Brandy, Jason, and the other folks that did that, which allows me to kind of break out in detail the costs and revenue of each VBS location. So with that, you'll see a spreadsheet in the back. It's kind of just a start. We're still refining the data, and we'll be auditing every GL account this winter, just to make sure of accuracy. But moving forward, you'll kind of see my financial report every month will somewhat be in this format. So if you have any ideas on things you want changed or added to this format, please let me know. Be happy to include those. So overall, with the campground, it was our first year, well, really 4 months that we operated the campground. So not really a full year, but a full fiscal year. So with that, we ended with 310 reservations for a total of 642 nights. We came up a little bit short from breaking even, but I have high hopes moving forward that that will not be an issue. We did have a question come up at a subcommittee about how many folks did cancellations this year, and it was a total of 15. And of those 15 cancellations, 6 of those received a full refund. Because if you remember, we had created a procedure for sometimes life happens and it's out of your control that you have to cancel a reservation. So we have a mechanism in place where I can make a recommendation to Jason, and then we could either move that reservation or give them a full refund. So of those 15, 6 received full refunds. So actually it's a pretty good ratio for cancellations to reservations. I was happy with that. The marina had another great year. Thanks to Ben and Jeremy for helping me learn how everything works down there. I've been working with Jeremy a lot lately, getting into the 2026 seasonal kayak lottery and that kind of stuff. So we've actually reached out to everybody for kayaks, mooring locations, and boat slips. So all of our folks have their links for payment. This year we did see kind of a drop in occupancy a little bit. There was a hiccup with the software. It said online, if your boat is over 35 feet, call the marina for more information. That disappeared at some point during the summer, but we identified that. So that's corrected moving forward. Also looking forward, a lot of our boaters, day boaters are actually from the state park. So I talked to Jason Berger. I'm looking forward to maybe setting up a meeting with the folks at the state park to see how we can collaborate moving forward and get the message out about what we offer. So excited about that. And then facility rentals did very well. So if you look at the spreadsheet, the paid reservation is very accurate. So altogether, we did 742 paid reservations in our rental facilities this year. I will mention the internal use numbers are kind of skewed right now. I'm still working through how to navigate those. There are some facilities with additional things that you can reserve, and if you don't reserve all of them, some of them get blocked off internally. So it's kind of skews the data. So I'll clean that up for the next meeting. So it was a great year. Elaine and her staff did a fabulous job, and another thank you to the park supervisors for their support operationally. With that, we are moving forward very quickly into Pigeon Creek operations. So that has been transferred to the Visitor and Business Services Division. So myself, Josh, and Colette will be the leads on operations of the lodge this year. And Eric is continuing to help. He's been a great help so far on transitioning that. He'll still be overseeing like the grooming operations and maintenance of the facility. So really full steam ahead into that planning process. With the campground kind of slowing down, one of the benefits we're finding is that some of our campground staff still want to get as many hours as they can. So they're going to be transitioning into keeping the campground moving when it's busy, but also helping us get Pigeon Creek up and running for the season. So that's exciting as well. And then also assisting Eric with South Zone operations on weekends. So the campground software search is continuing very well. We've narrowed down to a finalist. Thank you to Brandy and Ginny and Jen for all their help. We have one more final meeting with them on November 6th, and we're going to get down into the finite details of how does money move around in budgets with the software and Munis and all that stuff. We really want to get the details worked out before we decide to move forward. So we're asking them to answer a lot of very detailed questions on the capability of the software, but also at that meeting, we're asking to have their integration experts, folks that deal with the Airbnb integrations and then also their accounting experts at that meeting, so that if there is any questions, we'll have our experts and their experts there. We can bring a recommendation to the commission on at the November meeting to move forward. So I'll keep everyone updated on that. That'll come to subcommittee first. So, and then moving forward, some stuff I'm working on that's statewide. We attended the MacPro meeting at Antrim County. It was a great meeting. A lot of information was shared. One of the things that came up is something I'm looking at doing with M Parks and kind of spearheading the development of a campground and lodging committee. So that there's good feedback from that group. Tomorrow I'll be attending the West Michigan Regional M Parks group in Kalamazoo, talking about special events and networking with park professionals in West Michigan. Yeah, other than that, happy to answer any questions you have. The facility use plan is moving forward well, thanks to Aaron and everybody for their help. I was able to meet and talk with all the park supervisors of all the zones about the facilities, what works well, what doesn't, their ideas, their feedback, along with NEC staff and VBS staff. So at the next subcommittee meeting, I plan to bring up just a rough idea and timeline of how we're going to move forward with that project. So should have some good info there as well. So that's all I have.
Super. That's some great information, Nick. Thanks. Any questions for Nick? Oh, Jill, go
A
ahead.
quickie, Nick, with the new reservation system that we're looking at, are you going to have to, like, with the current system, where you have to join somebody's organization? It says you need to sign in through
that's a-
our thing, and I
that's a
don't
great-
want to
yeah.
provide marketing information.
That is a great question. Actually, there's two options. Obviously, in the world we live in now, people want to do things very quickly and they don't want to create logins.
Right.
So there's certainly be the ability to make a reservation without creating a login. There's also the other option. If you want to create a profile, you can do so in that system, and it saves your information. So every time you log in to book, it's right there ready to go. And with that, it's mobile optimized as well. And there also is a phone app that goes along with that. And the vendor actually does some marketing for all the properties that are members of their service as well. So
Well, that's something that, I personally don't want to get a whole lot of advertising material when I
Correct.
sign up for something.
Yeah.
And I felt that with your current system, that would be happening.
yeah, you can certainly opt in or out of things moving forward. So that's something I can bring up in our next meeting with them.
Okay.
Um,
And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about some stuff to do in your reporting, so we can talk
Absolutely.
afterwards about that. Thanks.
I'll just say for all of you who are in the weeds, people, don't give him grief about the spreadsheet yet. It's a first draft in work. So if numbers don't add up, certainly feel free to ask him, but it is a first draft through all of our systems, and they're not totally talking to each other, or they talk to each other, but not the right way. So finance is seeing these, and there's a lot of detail being discussed in finance that we're happy to answer, and so is Nick, but yes, some things don't add up.
Good to know. Great. Anyone else? All right, we will keep going with the committee reports, and we'll start with the executive committee, and Jane will take that verbal report since I was not able to attend this month.
Yes, Kelly had a very flimsy excuse for missing that. Something about her daughter getting married. And I don't know. It was a little sketchy, but we did.
Tried.
No, we did meet and talked about the agenda format or the agenda items for today. And also the agenda format. We kind of took a look at the number of staff reports we now have and committee reports. Our organization has grown. And so we have more things to keep track of and report on. So I think executive committee is going to be looking in the future at how to, or if it makes sense to consolidate some things, or maybe move to periodic reporting schedule rather than every single month. So just kind of starting to look at that. If you have any thoughts or ideas, certainly share those with us. We talked briefly about inviting our new administrator, Patrick Waterman, to a Parks and Rec Commission meeting. Just extend him a special invitation for the coming months, and I think Jason's is going to be talking to him about that when he's on board. So we want to welcome him, since we'll be working closely on our initiatives with that. That's pretty much it. We talked briefly about the foundation grant, which is on our agenda later on, the staffing grant. And that went through a second round of approval from the foundation due to a slightly modified, one of the attachments that had to be slightly modified to reflect the correct years, but that's no big issue. Just kind of updated on that. That's it.
Super. Any questions for Jane? All right, we will keep going with the planning committee report, and Lucas is not here today, so I think it's pretty, well, as he always mentions, it's very complete and thorough. So thank you to Aaron and Kurt for putting this report together. I think we just talked about a few highlights, or Ottawa Sands. We're looking at some, potential land use future planning restrictions associated with grant funding that was used there. Spring Grove, the native landscaping, early efforts there for a field that's not really being used. So looking at some natives and regenerative landscaping plans there. We talked about a proposal to mine gravel from the lake at the Bend area into the future, but I think we feel we need a little more information on that. And so we'll be following up on that with Kurt. And Kurt mentioned already the Eastmanville Farm barn study, feasibility study. So I think I'll leave it at that, but if there's any questions, feel free.
I've got a quick question about the Spring Grove native plantings. So if that picnic area was in the master plan, do we need to formally change that master plan if we're going to be using that?
So what we said we would do is we would come up with the plan. So this was just a concept to make sure the commissioners were okay with us pursuing it, staff pursuing it. So I think Kurt still had some more work to do and wanted to pull in Neely and her team. And then we would refine that as a project. And we wouldn't necessarily, we would look at more as how we're going to manage and operate that area. Development isn't in the next 10-year Parks and Rec plan. So we would approach it instead of updating the site master plan, and particularly, we would have the commission authorize us to make those improvements as an operating practice, and really to look at cutting down our maintenance and operations costs. That way, we don't necessarily have to change the master plan and update that, but we would want feedback and approval from the commission on it because of that, right? So.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Bruce, you have something?
Along that, in that Spring Grove area, what's the maybe percentage or whatever that of the turf that's going to be put into natural landscape possibly?
Figure that out. I don't know, Kurt.
It's in the range of 2 acres.
Yeah, I think that's what you
Wow.
talked about.
And it's really, and it's not, because of the way it's there's a natural divide with the creek and kind of a wood line, so it's kind of an underutilized area of the park that then, it really makes sense to not be mowing it.
Yeah, right.
That is not a large park to start, so if you're asking percentage, it maybe is 15% or, I think it's 20 acres, maybe the whole thing?
Not even.
Not even 18? I can't remember it off the top of my head. 16?
It's under 20, I know
Under
that.
20.
Yeah. We can look at that, and we'll have a
Yeah,
sketch and a
fine.
map of the whole park and make sure everybody's clear, and we'll review it again, at least at the committee level, but yeah. And the operations folks were, all behind it, so.
Early stages.
Okay, thanks.
So, any other questions on the planning committee? All right, we'll keep rolling with the finance and policy, and that's Linda.
So it's pretty clear in the notes what we discussed. We will be bringing the motion about the staffing grant. So that has been through finance as well as the executive committee and the foundation group and all. So that will be coming. who knew we were going to have to dredge? They have a plan for that down at the marina. You've heard enough about the Item Explorers Camp update from all of the departments. So if you have any specific questions, feel free. And then we're getting a donation of property next to Riley Trails. This is a pretty cool thing. And here's an attachment, description, and concept in the package. So that's pretty cool. And that was pretty much all we talked about.
Very good. Questions for Linda? I don't think there's a concept in our package, but
In
I
our
know it was
package, I know
in
it was in the
finance.
other.
It was in
Actually,
finance.
It
but
would,
we can
yes,
get-
I caught it yesterday that
Yeah,
it didn't
I
actually
made
get
a
in the
note, like,
Parks
where's-
Commission's packet. So if anybody's interested in that,
Sure.
and we'll make sure the one that goes onto our board,
It's to the
Yep.
east,
Yeah.
right?
south.
South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I get that right, Kurt?
Yeah,
think so.
south.
Which is
and
nice.
east, the southeast side.
And I make maps for a living.
Awesome. Any other questions for Linda? All right, we will keep going with the Community Engagement Committee report, and that's Jane.
Yeah, so we've got a concise but thorough minutes here that Riley and Jess put together, so thanks for that. If you haven't checked out the website, that now includes volunteer opportunities that Friends had been sort of organizing in the past, check it out. There's now it's a pretty cool page and tabs and all that good stuff, and Jessica and Riley are refining it. So if by chance you were to go to the former Friends website, there would be a link right to our webpage if you want to volunteer, if people want to volunteer. So that's a big undertaking, and it's in process, and it's going to be pretty cool. Otherwise, it's pretty self-explanatory. We did talk at some length about the partnerships that Jess mentioned in her report as part of the strategic plan implementation. Outdoor Discovery Center, obviously, we have similar, similar goals and work with kids like they do. So there's some cool opportunities to continue partnering with them and sort of taking the next step to, have a letter of agreement or an MOU type arrangement so we all know what we're responsible for. And also, some potential partnerships with the Tri-Cities Y. They have summer camps, and those kids are running all over the lawn there, up there by Mulligan's Hollow. And I think we could really serve them if they were amenable to that, and with some parks programming. So some potential partnerships that could be mutually beneficial. Otherwise, yeah, the winter programming and the millage educational materials. As far as the millage materials, those would be strictly educational, and we just kind of started brainstorming about what type of information we feel would be helpful to get out there on our website. So sort of in the beginning stages of that. And that's it.
Great. Questions for Jane?
Jane and Jesse, I keep seeing, and I'm very pleased to see it, that we are doing things with the Outdoor Discovery Center. I wonder if, I don't know what the other members of the commission would feel, but I think it'd be really great at some point if we had someone from the ODC come and give us a presentation of what their activities are. They're amazing. And if we're doing more with them, I think it would be good if we all knew a little bit about them, if that's something that can be worked out. If other members of the board feel that's an appropriate thing.
Yeah.
Be a long presentation.
Yep.
It might want to be a targeted, to your point, Paul,
Yeah.
targeted rather than what are your activities?
Yeah, well,
But I think as we work on, some sort of formal memorandum of understanding or agreement, that would make perfect sense to have them.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And that, right, in collaboration with putting together an MOU, that could be another
Yep.
piece of this.
That'd be a logical,
Yeah.
step after that formalization takes place and, have an opportunity to get to know them a little better. Yeah.
If they would do a presentation to have them maybe focus on where they potentially see opportunities
Mhm.
for closer engagement, that would help hone it in.
Yep.
I look at what they're doing with the Grand Haven schools and it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, that was great timing for everybody there.
And they have the ability to ask for forgiveness after they do things. So we don't always have that opportunity. So there are things that they do that we need to formalize more so that we don't end up with 35 people in one place that we didn't know about when we had maybe 50 people coming in one place that we know about. So there are a lot of opportunities for them, but we have to figure out who does. And I think Jessica's doing that in those discussions with.
Yeah, we want to make sure when their kids are in our parks, that we are prepared to serve them well.
Well, exactly.
So that's part of the coordination too that needs to happen. Yeah.
It's just good to have a better understanding of what each other are doing.
Yep.
I see their programs and I think they're pretty amazing.
So I was just going to mention, we've been working with the ODC for as long as I've been here, actually mostly related to the Greenway activities and doing watershed things and trying to find routes for the trail. And they've purchased property that we're using. We've purchased property from them. So that's been going on for a long time. Collaboration in regard to programming is a new and a big part of what should happen as we move forward. But I think we're going to continue to do that. We meet regularly with them. In fact, I've got a meeting next month, I think, which is that we call it a unity team meeting even. So it's ODC and us, and then all the local municipalities meet to talk about what's going on and how we can move ahead. So just a little background.
Super. Great. Any other questions? All right, Jane, you want to keep rolling with the foundation update?
Yeah, just very briefly, I know many of you were at the Rosie Mound dedication and the foundation's annual meeting earlier in the month. Turned out to be a gorgeous day. And it was really gratifying to be able to dedicate the trail to Alice Hoban, who is a longtime foundation and friends and park supporter. So that was great. And for those of you who weren't there, the foundation welcomed or formally voted to appoint Scott Blinkhorn to the board, and he'll be starting in January. And to thank a couple outgoing foundation board members, Jessica Gregory and Bobby Savine, of course, who also was honored with a trail recently. And Anita Yoder, the current president, will be terming off, but she will stay on as the past president. So the foundation board recently modified the structure so that the past president would be an ad hoc member. And so Anita will still be involved, which is great news. And that's about it.
Great. Questions for Jane? All right, we will keep rolling. It's 5 o'clock now, so we are going to skip item 10A, which is our public hearing for the Parks Plan that will start at 5:30. So we will circle back to that in half an hour and keep going with the new business. And the first item up is the Item Explorers Trail Allendale segment easement. And I believe this is new, correct? Like it has not been through committee yet?
Yeah, that's correct. It came in.
Because it came in later. yeah.
Very quickly, and it does take a couple months to run through the whole process, and some of these people like their money as soon as they can have it. So we thought if we could bring it on, that would be good. So this is one more. We have 7 easements that we're really trying to get right away for Allendale. This is number 4, I think. So we're getting there.
Okay. Does someone want to make a motion so we can discuss this?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thanks, Jane. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Yeah.
Thanks, Bruce. Okay, questions? Is there any more detailed background we need to get, or is this expected? Anything out of the ordinary?
No, this is a similar situation. There just isn't enough right of way to fit the trail in. This particular spot, I think it widens out from just 2 lanes and it has some turn lanes on it. And so yeah, we need more room to fit the trail in, at least to get it away from the road, at least the distance the road commission likes.
Or are we talking about the Love Inc. look?
Yep, this is Love Inc. on 60th. Yep. So it's fairly wide. It's much wider than a normal residential lot, and that therefore the expense is more than we've been paying for the other ones. But this is, they didn't ask for more than what we offered. This is based on the square footage price that we thought was fair market.
Great. Any other questions? All right, we'll put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. And we move on to the Ottawa Beach Marina dredging contract, and that's come before Finance and Policy. So looks like we have Nick on this, or Linda, is there anything you wanted to provide on this, or that Finance reviewed?
If we make a motion and then I'll.
Okay,
be happy
all
to-
right. We have a suggested motion to authorize the director a contract not to exceed $98,300 with DK Construction as written. Does anyone want to make that motion so we can start a discussion?
So move.
Thanks, Jane. Do we have support?
Support.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
I think Nick would be the best one to explain
Okay,
what's going on with
sounds
this.
good. All right, go ahead, Nick, you're on.
Happy to elaborate. So right now, obviously, when we built the marina, we had record high water levels, and now we're on the downside of that. So what that is resulting in is some areas are only 4 feet deep, which severely limits the types of vessels and hull types that can park at some of our docks. In addition to that, the receding water and how the sediments move at the bottom of the lake expose some piles that need to be removed for safety. So we went out to bid. We received 3 quotes from contractors. The one we're moving for is the most qualified contractor with all the requirements needed. They actually built the marina, and I'm not familiar with them because I'm new, so I reviewed their references. They come highly recommended from many folks in the marina game. The biggest part of this is the permitting aspect. So that's the big unknown. There is the possibility of a muscle survey being needed, and then if they're found, they may need to be moved. So with that, the price is not to exceed 98,300. 40,000 of that is earmarked for potential permitting. So I'll be working directly with the contractor. We may modify the total amount that we remove from the area. But at the end of the day, the contract won't exceed 98,300. So with that, I mean, I included the scope of work that we're expecting the contractor to complete. I also included the map kind of showing the locations of the dredging and pile removal, and then the spreadsheet that was attached to the RFP for the contractor, so they know roughly what they're getting into. And I think we'll be able to shoot for 7-foot water depth, which would take us under 500 cubic yards of dredging, but just in case things happen, we want to have a little bit of buffer there. So happy to answer any of the other questions you may have.
Anybody have questions?
So,
Yeah, go ahead, Joe. Yeah.
Nick, did you ever reach out to any of the other organizations? I know a few of those have maybe be dredging as well. Because
Number of those were actually their references. So,
I didn't know
yeah.
they were dredging with PK at the same time or not.
Oh, I'm not sure, but a number of their references were other marinas nearby.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
I know that pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Pretty well recognized.
So,
I'm just curious if you talk to the other marinas, because I think they're having issues with low water as well.
yes, yeah.
Just curious.
Nick, is the dredging going to be done in the fall or in the spring?
Well, that's the great question. It is going to be permitting dependent, and as Joe could probably attest to, that is very extremely variable at times depending on what the regulators decide is required. So we have set up our reservations next year on those slips strategically. We actually kept one open, added a new seasonal slip. So after this year, we'll have 16 seasonal boat slips. We're still moving forward with 15 in the next year, allowing us to have one open so we could actually slide vessels around to accommodate dredging should that have to happen during the season. Dredging can't start until July. There's like a period, and I'm not an expert like Joe and folks at the state, but there's a period where you cannot dredge, and that ends at the beginning of July. So we're prepared for any timetable. It'll all be permitting dependent, but the goal would be to have it done before the fiscal year ends on September 30th
Next year.
next year.
Not, we're already going, so.
We could have a hard winter and maybe the water table or the lake level will come up a little bit.
It's supposed to.
It's supposed to. We'll see.
And that's
Completely dependent on getting the permitting done. We don't get to pick.
The reason I was asking about other marinas, if you would collaborate on the permitting, because
Yeah.
Eagle and Army Corps permit.
Yeah, we can certainly, I can reach out to DK and talk to them about that. The permit they're looking at going for, they said would be good for 5 years and would allow for maintenance work in addition to that. But that's a great question. I can reach out to DK and we can chat that possibility as well.
Collaborate with your neighbors.
Absolutely.
Corps joint permits.
Yep.
I maybe would mention this, in addition to the low water, the marina is in a location where we could get sand migrating from the channel along the south shore. Unlike some of the Aldine across the way does not have that issue, but we potentially could. I can't say how much that factored into this because it is quite low, but this could happen periodically.
Yeah.
No
so
matter what.
Having that maintenance option is probably a great way to.
Paul, did you have something? Or
Oh, thank you. I was just curious. I apologize if I missed this, but what were the qualifications for the work? Is it
I can actually send you that. I didn't attach that from the RFP, but there's certain insurance requirements. 5 million liability is required by the county, and then a proven track record of experience with permitting and dredging of similar type work. But I can forward you the full RFP so you can have that for your records.
just curious because of the three, you said only 2 were qualified.
Yeah, and that came right back to one of the individuals that bid did not meet the requirement of the insurance, and in talking to them, it didn't sound like they wanted to do that. It would have been a $20,000 a year increase on their side to obtain the $5 million coverage.
And the DK Construction, their quote included the muscle survey and estimate?
Yep, that was worst case scenario. They bid 40,000 for permitting it, assuming that if we had to do it, that would cover those costs. Whereas the other individual, outside of the insurance issue, their quote did not include the potential of a muscle survey and then potential moving those muscles to other areas. So
thank you.
Yep.
good. Any final questions? All right, thanks, Nick. That was helpful. Oh, wait, we didn't vote on that, did we? All right, we'll put it to a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. All right, item 11C is the Item Explorers Trail Allendale Segment Grant Administration Agreement and Budget Adjustment. And that has been through planning. So do we have a suggested motion there for the Parks Director to enter into an agreement with the Road Commission for administration of the TAP grant for the Allendale segment of the Item Explorers Trail? Would anyone like to make that motion as written?
I'll make the motion as written.
Okay, thanks, Linda.
Support.
Thanks, Joe. All right, Kurt, anything you want to add here as far as more detail? Or
Not a lot. If you've been involved with us previous on TAP grants, this is federal money and we can't actually apply for it ourselves. We need to work through a Act 51 agency. And the road commission is very good with this, working with us. And we've done several of these. So this is, the standard agreement we've used several times before.
Great. Yep, go ahead, Jason.
And then we did have some questions come up at our committee meeting about the indemnification and responsibility for the work. I did talk that through with Corporation Counsel, and they felt like this was a acceptable language to include. So,
Okay. All right, final questions, comments? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. And now we are down to 11D, which is the Ottawa County Parks Foundation Development Staffing Grant Agreement. This has been through Finance and Policy. And let's see, we have a suggested motion to approve and authorize the director to execute the foundation staff grant agreement. Does anyone like to make that motion as written?
I'll make it.
All right, thanks, Field.
Support.
Thank you, Jane. All right, Jason, anything you'd like to add here?
so this is a renewal. This is the 2025 is the third year of this grant. And when we had originally embarked on this conversation, there'd been consideration at that time. The foundation has a part-time position. The preference at that time was to continue that as a foundation employee. The foundation board and executive committee throughout the past year had encouraged me to include that position in this new grant. So by approving this grant, it will also add a new parks part-time benefited position that will be funded through this grant. So that's the main and only real change to this grant.
Great. All right, questions, comments on this? Did Jane, anything to offer up from the foundation standpoint or?
No,
we're good?
that it's been voted on and approved by the foundation, so all is in order.
Super. All right, we'll go ahead and put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. And let's see, second to last, Riley Trails, the donation of 15 acres that Linda referenced earlier. So this is the additional land that we would be acquiring on the southeast side of Riley Trails Park. So we have a suggested motion there to approve the donation agreement. If anyone would like to make that as written.
Make that motion.
Okay, thanks, Martin.
I'll second.
Thanks, Bruce. All right, Jason, anything to add? I know we've talked about this quite a bit.
Nope. I think it's, what I would say in there, our goal would be to close on the property in the springtime. It's currently row crop. So if you have seen the picture or would like to see the picture, it's row crops. There's corn is planted there now. So we'll have internally a staff will come up with a plan on doing some native seeding there, and we'll probably try to coordinate with the current owner as long as all works out with the board approval to try to go ahead and get some seed down before winter time or before the end of winter, so we can hopefully get a season jump start. So we might do some work getting native seeding down in that row crop area, but we'll keep you guys posted on that.
So I would just add, since we didn't have the plan in there, it actually is a little better than just corn, because I would say half of it is woods. That's actually pretty good quality. So it's good improvement. And the plan is to, we have a trail that runs along the very south edge of that property that we would provide a loop through there, probably for both mountain bikers and regular hikers. And then eventually there would be an access from the neighborhood that's going to be built there in that way.
And is that on, would that be on 160th then?
No, it's not. It would be James Street. It would be the development comes in.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's not, it doesn't front on 160th. It's all on James.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Well, there'll be a subdivision coming into the spot.
Yes, there's a
Eventually.
subdivision that comes in off James, and the very end of that, where it abuts the park, is the piece
Property
that
doesn't
was-
touch James though, right?
It doesn't
Correct.
touch James. The development property does, a donation piece does not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the developer was able to receive a variance to the local zoning for the green space requirement. So this will count as their green space requirement. So it made sense for them, and then it works for us because, it's another 15 acres onto Riley Trails.
Very cool.
Super. Any other comments, questions? All right, we'll go ahead and put it to a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. And we have one more add-on item, which is the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund Agreement for the Idema Explorers Trail Eastmanville Connector. And that is what we have been handed, hard copy. This is the last minute edition since it just came in. So we do have a suggested motion to approve the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund Development Project Agreement and resolution for the Idema Explorers Trail Eastmanville Connector. If anyone would care to make
moved.
that motion. Thanks, Phil. All right, anyone second support that?
Support that.
Okay, thanks, Martin.
That,
Right.
make a late breaking adjustment to that, talking through with Randy just now.
What?
Yeah, it's a little hard to hear you. I don't know if,
Right now?
I don't think that makes sense.
kinda. Oh,
Maybe, I doubt
Because we'll need it later anyway.
It's on.
Yeah, you're,
Sounds like it.
It's green.
green, but I don't know if it's.
Just talk loud.
yeah,
I'm talking very loud. So late breaking, want to amend that motion. We went back and forth whether, because the new capital budget's coming on, and there has been an adjustment, and it's pretty close, but it's not quite there when Brandy did a second look at it, because we just got this Monday. The state budget was approved a couple weeks ago, and then we got this Monday, so got this together, because otherwise we didn't want to lose a month to bid it. So we want to add and adjust the budget for CP 2210 as needed, or to meet the agreement.
Okay, so we would need to amend.
Authorize a budget amendment to CP 2210 to meet the grant agreement budget.
It should be less than. Well, yeah.
I don't think we need that. I think it's to authorize a budget amendment to meet the
And then you can do it
grant
where you
agreement.
want to.
Okay. But it's not a big difference. It's pretty nominal. Okay,
How much is it?
If we don't have to,
There's two things. There's 54,000 we've already spent, and some of that could be matched. It's engineering from since January. Some of that might be easement. And then there's the budget is like 1659. $18 still doesn't match them exactly. So
$18?
Karen's pretty particular about it. The contract says if you don't have enough in the capital project budget.
We'll have a bake sale.
Well, we have the money.
Well, and that's
to
why it was, yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
To be clear, we have the money, right? It's either grant or it's from the Greenway campaign.
Right.
It's just a matter of matching it up
Yes.
to the grant, what's in our system.
so the suggested motion we might have would be to approve the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund Development Project Agreement and resolution for the Idema Explorers Trail Eastmanville Connector and authorize a budget adjustment to capital project 2210.
Yes.
To meet the agreement, to match the agreement. Yeah.
I'm not gonna worry about $18.
To match agreement. Okay. Would anyone care to make that suggested
Or you could
motion?
ask Phil if he'll.
And then this, right, this will go on to the.
Oh, that's right.
To the
Phil
Board
did
of
make the
Commissioners
motion,
too. And
sorry.
so right, and that's where we'll really make sure Karen has the motion language that she wants and the one that goes to the board. So, yes.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
with-
would
with
you make
the,
a friendly amendment to
with a
your
friendly
motion?
amendment, yes.
Okay, thank you, Phil. And Martin, are you still willing to second the
Yes, I
amended
will.
motion? Okay. All right. We got it. Okay, any questions, comments? It's nice the funding came through.
Yeah.
So yay,
Yay,
yeehaw for
funding.
that, right? All right, super. We'll put it to a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Okay, we're getting close, but we'll go ahead and move to our second public comment period. If anyone in the audience would like to make public comment, please let us know. There will be a public comment period during the public hearing for the Parks Plan as well, which comes up at 5:30. But if you would like to make public comment on anything else, I'll give you 3 minutes. And again, for those online, anyone watching online, feel free to submit any public comments to us in writing at any point during the month to the email address indicated in the YouTube video description. All right, we'll go around the horn here with Commissioner's prerogative. Anything you all would like to bring up? And we'll start with you, Bruce.
I don't think I have anything right now.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Paul?
Nothing.
Okay, Jane?
Only a personal note that our resident bald eagle is back near our house, so I was very happy to see him or her come in and fish, and they only show up by us when it gets colder. So in the warmer months, they go somewhere else. But she is back, so that's fun.
Were they using the Stearns Connector Trail by your house?
Yeah, maybe
Flying
so.
down the
Came in
greenway.
that way. Could have been. I don't
That's
know.
exciting.
Yeah.
Good. Linda?
Nothing.
Martin?
Nothing to add.
Okay, Phil?
Good.
Okay, Joe? Field?
A couple of things. One of the things, I'm on the road commission, as you all know. And one of the things we do whenever we have dollars being spent, we do a roll call. And I don't, I just point that out. If that's something that is an appropriate thing for us to be doing or not doing, I know that we pass this stuff on to the county board and so forth, but I'm supportive of everything we've done, but I'm just wondering if that's something that we should consider doing when we're spending money. Second issue, and this is again something we're looking at the road commission. We have a lot of property around the county, and some of us on the board are advocating that we look at some of that property and think if it should be back on the tax rolls, if it should be sold and should be back on the tax rolls. And it might be something, if we have anywhere surplus property that we're really not going to be using, are we just holding on to it for the sake of holding on to it? Or is it something that we could potentially be returning to the county to get some taxable revenue from some other use? I'm not advocating it one way or another, but it's something that we might want to be thinking about.
Okay.
Okay.
Are any of the properties that the road commission is looking to offload anything the parks might be interested in?
We're just starting the process. It's probably going to be, we have a whole number of very forward-looking things that we're working on, and we're just getting started. It'll probably be over the next year, we identify some of this stuff. But it's just something that we've talked about, that we think that the county's growing, and there are areas that we probably have some properties that we probably don't need. And there are probably the other thing we're talking about is, are there properties that we need to buy? That's a second issue, but we really like seeing tax revenue coming in to the county one way or another, being the classical conservatives that we are.
Hey, talk a little bit about your beet juice issue.
That's also very premature.
Right.
That sounds interesting.
Some of us are advocates of finding ways, and again, we're just starting to look at it. We dump, this is a disturbing figure that many of you maybe have never heard. We dump 20,000 tons of salt on the roads every year. And it very much affects our farmland, and it affects other land and the drains, and we like to have Joe have something to do. But we are, some of us, I think a majority of us are looking at trying to find ways to mitigate that, to cut it down or to find other solutions. There are other products used in different parts of the country, including some of them that are made in Michigan. And so we are, as this organization is, interestingly, we have a very good chair of our road commission right now, and we're beginning to look at some, a bit more forward thinking.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent initiative.
Forget, and Paul probably remembers in 2004, planning department, it's done the planning department did with the road commission did a road salt report. And you might see the signs that say environmentally sensitive area, and that came out of that, because blueberry fields were being negatively impacted by the salt.
Right.
So I think still to this day, they don't salt no more on those sections, where those signs are, and that's why they're there. But, so if you don't have a copy of that, and I think beet juice was mentioned at that time back then, so.
Was.
Right.
Yeah.
Good, thanks.
The Luce County, Indianapolis, does not use salt. They use beet juice from Michigan.
Cool.
Neat. Great.
I recall riding past the salt storage, I don't know, call it a building, it doesn't really have walls all the way around, on my bike at one point a year or two ago, and it was quite staggering. Literally stopped me, and I stopped and took a picture because it was
it's
incredible to see, like you said, the scale of the amount of salt that
The
gets
other thing it's been strongly suggested, I mean, this is kind of amusing, but we have a minute or two.
I have one thing to add before 5:30 too.
Well,
so-
this will be quick. We've been told that the monarch butterfly is on the edge of being declared an endangered species, and we have been encouraged to look at areas where we're working around the county where there's milkweed, and not to do work in the areas where we have milkweed. Well, maybe what we want to do, it'll really disturb a bunch of people. Maybe we want to plant some.
Never get rid of it.
Just one final thing for me is I just want to let everybody know that we will be forming a nominating committee looking to 2026 for the officers of the Parks Commission. So just throwing that out there that maybe next month we'll talk more about that or announce who might be part of that. But obviously it won't be voted on until 2026 for whoever our Parks Commissioners are. But just wanted to throw that out there that we'll be pulling together a nominating committee at the end of this year to help with that process. So we have one more minute. I just wanted to say it's just been awesome this last month, how many celebrations and ribbon cuttings, and there's just so many people that have been honored and, new lands that, we need to go.
No, I was gonna ask a question.
Oh, okay, sorry. But anyway, I just thought it was really neat, and thank you staff for all the efforts. I know putting those celebrations together takes a lot of work, and I think they were really, really awesome. So, yeah. Jess, go ahead.
Something I didn't mention in my report, and I promised Neely that I would mention it will be online in the next couple of days. We are going to do our first ever non-native pine removal / non-traditional Christmas tree event. So if you are interested in coming cutting your own Christmas tree down from the Rosie Mountain expansion area, we'll be removing Austrian pine. Really excited about the road commission is gratefully letting us park in their parking lot, so we don't have to have people hike a half mile. So yeah, mark your calendars for November 29. So it'll be the first time we've ever done that, and I'll send around a link when we've got it live.
How many trees are there?
There are a lot of trees actually. So we're gonna have 2 sessions, one at 10, one at 12. And and we'll have like 10 slots for people to register, and it could be like for your family, right? You just have to register one person. And the 10 o'clock group will cut down a couple of trees if they'd like, but then the noon group can cut down as many as they want, and they don't have to take them all if they don't want to. We did survey the area and make sure there's enough like 6 to 8 foot trees, like a pretty normal sized tree that you could use. Then there's also much bigger ones too. So that always becomes finding the one the right size can be tricky. So.
Super.
Are we
Love
gonna-
those Charlie Brown Christmas trees.
Right?
So here we go.
Right?
They're awesome. All right, we are at 5:30.
30.
Yep.
Big football day
Yes.
also.
No, right.
So
Yep.
that's the game. We're going to end that losing streak.
All right. Okay. All right, 5:30. Linda's got the gavel. So are we okay to just let this video keep rolling for the public
Yes,
hearing?
And then we,
Okay.
technically as a hearing, it would be good to do a formal motion to call it to order.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So we'll just do a roll call like we normally do.
I think we have to make
Go
a
to
motion.
public hearing.
Yes, we do need to make a motion, correct.
I'll make a
Okay,
motion.
so we'll make a motion to call the public hearing to order.
So moved.
Thank you, Linda.
Support.
Thanks, Joe. All right, all those well, do we need roll call? Jenny, would you mind taking roll call, just since we're starting another meeting?
Bush,
Yes.
Greenlee,
Yes.
Harris.
Yep.
Hill is absent. Kyers,
Yes.
Longstreet,
Yes.
McCaffrey,
Yes.
Reichart,
Yeah.
Rice,
Yes.
Sacks.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Since the public hearing is called to order, what we kind of have planned here is a brief presentation on the parks plan, and then we will open it up for public comment, and anyone who wishes to will have 3 minutes to offer up public comment at that time. And Kurt, are you making, or actually maybe not a presentation, so maybe just a verbal presentation, or?
Yeah, I can just give a little background. Are anybody here to speak for it at the hearing, actually? No? You're just here to observe? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So as most of you know, we've been working on the new parks plan since, well, about the start of the year. And part of that process is getting public comment on it. And so that started officially in early September 10 or so. And we put it online. We did quite a bit of advertising about it, sent, I don't know, our big email blast to lots of our supporters and so forth. And that period officially ended on the 17th of October. And that is part of the requirements to get this plan approved by the state of Michigan. And we've talked about that numerous times. We do this plan because it's good to do a plan and allocate our resources appropriately. But the plan allows us to be eligible for the state grant. So we use that a lot. And so we need a plan that's acceptable to the state. They also require a public hearing, which is this. It's not unusual that we don't get a lot of participation in this because it doesn't affect people directly so much as if a specific park plan or something like that. So anyway, in your packet, I did put them. Actually, I think it's everything that I received from the public. Some of you commissioners have sent me emails and other things too, and that's fine, but that's not included. So this is everything that came either through the survey, or maybe I should say that, right? We had a survey online. We had 50 some people do the survey. We also just accepted emails or other correspondence from anybody who wanted to do that. So everything is in there. I noticed even Rick's red lines got in there. I wasn't intending to get those in there, but they made it, so it's fine. And we like people actually looking at it closely. So, I mean, overall, very positive comments, right? We asked questions, just how did you rate it? And most people were excellent or very good. We did have some suggestions. Most of them are things that we do hear fairly regularly from some groups, like the equestrians were in there, the mountain bikers were in there, the dog lovers were in there, the dog haters were in there, those kind of things. So I really feel like if you look at the comments, we do have them addressed in the plan somewhere. You maybe could make a case that we wanted to emphasize something a little more. I noticed we got a couple of emails about this property down by 88. Yeah, where they're doing the the aggregate removal right now. The road commission has it, and they want to make sure that we're on top of potentially adding that to the park. And so that's fine. That is in the plan, but we could emphasize it further. So, so you can look over these. The plan is that I would kind of collect everything again and make a, talk about it with the Parks Planning Committee in early November. So we'll go over any specifics, right? And then I'll get the final plan all together with all of your comments, all the corrections that we found. I'm probably going to do one more really hard look at the whole thing just to make sure there's not any missing pieces or something doesn't make sense, so that we can potentially have it ready for the November Parks Commission meeting to approve it and send it on to the board. I did have it on us in November, the board in December. It doesn't have to be until February 1, so that gives us 1 month of slack if something comes up that, yeah, we need to address and take a little longer. But I'm hoping that we can have it wrapped up for the November meeting. There is some talk about narrowing it down in terms of all the funding scenarios we looked at. Right now, the plan includes all these funding scenarios at all these different levels, and that's fine the way it is. We may want to, at some point, trim that down to the ones that we're really considering the most, but we don't need to decide that right now. So, I don't know, I can answer any of the questions, or we can say no one had any other comments.
Could I ask a question about
Sure.
a couple of public's input had talked about this cockpit?
Yeah.
And that's, you said that is addressed in our plan, I guess.
Yeah,
I
if you
never
go
see
to-
that term.
Yeah, wait, I've never called it the cockpit. Is that the official name? Okay, so it's under the Upper Macatawa Natural Area.
Yeah, right.
So if you go in there, you'll see that the master plan included it because we've had our eye on this a long time. It's become more significant now because they've actually started extracting the gravel. For a while, it was just not being used very actively, and certainly not being mined for the material, but now it is. So that means that's some point in the near future, the road commission will be done with it and would likely look to dispose of it somehow. And yeah, I think neighbors certainly would like to see it added to the park, and I think we've always hoped that it would be as well. Yep. So it's listed as under the master plan, and I think the actual further planning and acquisition of it is also a specific project in the plan.
Other comments? Questions for Kurt? I guess just super quick on the item you mentioned, if we shrink down the funding scenarios, so that would occur this coming month, and then it would be incorporated into the final version we approve in
Probably, right? I
November.
think we would make that
I think
decision
that's
in the
what
next
we'll-
month.
Yeah, I think we would try to have that conversation at committees and see if it makes sense. It's okay the way we have it done now, but
Yeah.
I think yeah, even when we want to do that.
Okay.
Just one silly question. Do you respond at all to the public comment? Like, so will you send a note back and say,
Yeah, if it's email that comes to me, yes. The surveys, no.
no, right?
Anyone else? All right.
It's a really
One
good
last
document.
call last call for public comment on the parks plan, just to make. Sure. Wait, would you be able to state your name and address and come up to the podium?
Chris Paquetos, 10102 North Cedar. More so just have a question for John, because we're going into closed session, or you guys will. Will you be sticking around after? Because I have some road commission questions I'd love to ask you.
Sure.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Oh, that's the guy up there.
Awesome. All right. Okay. And with that, seeing no further public comment, I think we will go ahead and close public hearing at this time. So,
We need a motion to that effect.
yes, we should have a
I'll move
motion.
that we close public hearing.
Okay, thanks, Jane. We have support?
Support.
Okay, thanks, Linda. All right, all those in favor of closing public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, public hearing is closed, and we will now move into closed
I
session.
make a motion that we move into closed session.
All right, good. Well, go ahead,
One-
wait one second,
One small
Phil.
thing which I neglected to mention,
Mhm.
and I think Aaron's aware of this, on the 6th of November at 10 o'clock, the Shoreline Trails and Greenways Quality Quarterly Meeting is taking place at the Wimserdick offices in Muskegon, West Michigan
Oh, okay.
Shoreline Regional Development Commission. I'm going to be attending. I know Aaron's going to be attending. It will be an interesting meeting, and we have to look at more and more linkage between our counties and communities, so I think it'll be good. So if anybody else is up for that, it's on the 6th of November, same day as the wonderful Harbor Island meeting in the evening, 10 o'clock in the morning in Muskegon.
Good to know. Thank you. All right, so now we need a motion to move into closed session.
So moved.
All right.
Support.
We had that. I think Joe supported it.
Joe supported, I made it. Joe
Yeah, we did
supported
that
it.
already.
Oh,
Now you have to
gotcha.
vote.
Somebody down there did.
Okay, now we
Roll
need
call.
roll call. So we'll go ahead and end our public live stream while Ginny takes roll.
Bush,
Yes.
Greenlee,
Yes.
Harris,
Yep.
Hill is absent, Kyers,
Yes.
Longstreet,
Yes.
McCaffrey,
Yes.
Reichart,
Yep.
Rice,
Yes.
Sacks.
Yes.